$50,000 wedding scam. My sister and fiance's altar betrayal exposed. The tremor in my hand still hasn't completely subsided. 20 years. 20 years of my life, dedicated to building a haven, only for it to be nearly shattered by the two people I trusted most. I operate a hotel at one of Boston's most prominent establishments, a feat I achieved inch by painstaking inch, clawing my way up from the front desk to my current position as a 45-year-old woman. What started as a mission to care for my sister after our parents' death became woven into the very fabric of my being. Managing this hotel isn't just a job, it's my accomplishment, my refuge, a sacred space where I curate experiences, craft memories, and ensure every guest feels the warmth and elegance that defines our brand. We even received our 5th star after I poured my heart and soul into the restorations, rebranding, and a complete overhaul of our service philosophy. The employees here aren't just staff, they are my family, many having stood by me for over a decade, witnessing my transformation from a young, anxious boss into someone they respect and trust. They helped me navigate the complexities of raising my 35-year-old sister, Rachel, stepping in when she needed me at school functions or during those challenging teenage years when she struggled with the loss of our parents. Although Rachel currently works at a nearby cafe, our relationship had always gone far beyond mere sisterhood. I was 25, fresh out of management training, when I suddenly became responsible for a 15-year-old who had lost everything. I became her confidant, her mother figure, her sister all rolled into one. Her well-being dictated every decision I made, every promotion I pursued. Our haven was this hotel. Rachel would do her homework in my office during school breaks, chatting with the housekeeping staff and even picking up French from our seasonal guests. As she grew older, she'd help out at the front desk during peak hours, charming our frequent visitors with her natural charisma. Despite the hardships, we pieced together a life from the fragments of our broken family. Romance never held much appeal. Dating seemed like an unnecessary complication between managing the hotel and ensuring Rachel had everything she needed. There were fleeting flirtations at industry events and occasional dinners with business associates, but nothing ever felt worth pursuing. My employees would joke about setting me up, but I always declined. I'd tell them Rachel was my child, and the hotel was my husband. Then, 3 months ago, Ethan, a 43-year-old man, checked into our hotel, and everything irrevocably changed. There was something instantly captivating about him, an undeniable presence that set him apart. It wasn't just his custom-made suit or his quiet confidence, it was the way he saw things. Most of our affluent guests were too preoccupied with their phones or their own importance to truly notice their surroundings. But Ethan, he complemented the delicate lighting that had taken me months to perfect during the restorations. As he checked in, he looked directly into my eyes and said, "Your attention to detail is extraordinary. I've stayed in hotels all over the world, and this one is truly unique. You can feel the thought that goes into every detail." Those words resonated with me deeply, acknowledging not just the hotel's beauty, but the heart and effort poured into it. When he asked about nearby eateries, I found myself offering not just the usual recommendations, but my own personal favorites. The undiscovered gems I'd stumbled upon during late-night strolls after particularly challenging days. A natural rhythm developed over his 3-night stay. Each evening, after his meetings, he would return to the lobby lounge, perfectly positioned to strike up a conversation whenever I passed by. He asked intelligent questions about my professional background, the hotel's history, and my aspirations. Ethan seemed genuinely interested in every detail, not just making polite conversation. On his last morning, instead of the typical corporate checkout, he said, "Your passion for this place is inspiring. How about we continue our conversation over dinner?" He handed me his personal card, adding that he understood if I preferred to keep things professional. But there was so much more he'd love to learn. I spent hours agonizing over whether to text him. When Rachel came into my office that afternoon, sensing my preoccupation, she demanded to see the card. More excited than I'd seen her in years, she exclaimed, "You have to call him. When was the last time someone actually took the time to get to know you, not just your job? That first dinner changed everything." Like me, Ethan spoke passionately about his work in investment banking, explaining complex financial strategies with an artistry that mirrored my dedication to hospitality. He listened to my stories about my parents with genuine empathy, sharing his own experiences of resilience. Months flew by, and Ethan seamlessly integrated into my life, always mindful of my employees' preferences, surprising me with lunch at the hotel cafe. He even remembered every small detail I shared about Rachel during our weekend excursions, dropping by to offer encouragement and inquire about her job. "You're different," he told me one evening as we strolled along the waterfront. "Most people in your position would be burned out and jaded from dedicating so much of themselves to their families and careers. But you've managed to strike a beautiful balance between professionalism and genuine warmth." He said he appreciated how much I valued creating experiences. Over a private dinner at a fancy restaurant overlooking the harbor, he proposed. The ring was exactly what I would have chosen for myself, elegant without being ostentatious. As he knelt beside our table, with a string quartet playing softly in the background, Ethan spoke of building a future together. "When you find someone who shares your values and commitment to excellence," he said, acknowledging how quickly things had moved, "allow me to be a part of your world. and help you build something even more remarkable than what you've already created. When Rachel learned we were engaged, her reaction was overwhelming. Tears streamed down her face as she embraced me tightly, whispering, "You deserve this so much. Someone deserving of you." I was genuinely touched by her enthusiasm as she threw herself into the wedding planning. We stayed up late discussing details, sharing hopes and dreams for the future, just like when we were teenagers again. The wedding preparations moved swiftly forward. Ethan, understanding my desire to finally be the center of attention, insisted on throwing a lavish celebration. He reassured me when I expressed concern about the cost, suggesting we combine our resources. "I've saved for our honeymoon and future home," he said. "You focus on the wedding. Consider us partners now." Rachel insisted on handling many of the wedding arrangements so I could focus on managing the hotel. She managed the guest list, arranged the catering samples, and communicated with vendors with an efficiency that mirrored my own. "You've taken care of everyone else for so long," she said. "Let me handle this for you." Looking back, there were signs, subtle clues that I chose to ignore. The hushed phone conversations that ended abruptly when I entered the room, the fleeting glances exchanged between Ethan and Rachel during our family dinners, the unexpected coincidences of them running into each other when I was busy with work emergencies, all red flags I dismissed. Yesterday, the carefully constructed facade crumbled. Ethan rushed off to what he claimed was an urgent client meeting, leaving his phone behind in my office while he came to discuss final wedding plans. As his phone vibrated with incoming texts, the screen lit up, revealing a message preview. "My darling," it read, "I can't wait until tomorrow." She won't know what hit her. The sender was Rachel. My hands trembling, I unlocked his phone. There was no password, a chilling testament to their audacity. What I discovered shattered my world. Hundreds of messages, dating back months before I'd even met Ethan, revealed a horrifying conspiracy. In one early message, Ethan wrote, "She's perfect for our plan. Hotel manager, substantial savings, no real relationships." Rachel's responses were even more devastating. "She's always put so much effort into taking care of me. She never developed a personal life. This will be far too easy." It was all a meticulously planned scheme. Ethan hadn't stumbled upon our hotel by chance. Rachel had told him everything about me, even my favorite wines and my daily routines. Every chance encounter, every heartfelt conversation, had been carefully orchestrated. But their affair was only one layer of the betrayal. Ethan's career as an investment banker was a sham. He'd purchased his luxury suits with credit cards, and his promises of an opulent future were lies. I was his lifeline, and he was drowning in debt. Their true plan was revealed in the messages: use my money to fund an extravagant wedding, and then, during the ceremony, reveal their affair in a shocking public spectacle. They would humiliate me in front of my friends, my coworkers, everyone I knew and respected. Then, with what remained of my savings, they would vanish. As I scrolled through their exchanges, something else caught my eye. Messages from Ethan's wife, Catherine. Unlike me, she knew who he truly was. Their texts were filled with arguments about unpaid bills, missed child support payments, and his spiraling gambling debts. As dawn breaks, casting long shadows across my hotel, a chilling calm has settled over me. In a few hours, the hair and makeup crew will arrive. Rachel is scheduled to be here, acting as the loyal sister, the maid of honor. Another detail revealed in their messages: Ethan had been practicing his vows, pilfered from romantic movies, perfecting his performance for this grand deception. And this location, this exquisite ballroom, which I spent the last 20 years saving and nurturing, while raising Rachel, sending her to college, and helping her pursue her dream of owning a cafe. They planned to desecrate it all. But as I sit here, watching the morning light dance across the lobby, the very heart of the hotel I've poured my life into, a strange sense of peace washes over me. They believed they were exploiting me, preying on my love and trust. But they forgot that I didn't reach this point by being naive. I've managed one of Boston's most prestigious hotels for 2 decades. I know how to navigate crises, transform setbacks into opportunities, and play the long game. For the past several hours, I've been on the phone with my lawyer, who has meticulously documented everything, preparing the necessary legal actions. I've spoken with Catherine, who deserves to know the truth about her husband's plot, and I've contacted my hotel security team, who have always been more than just employees. They're the family I chose, and they've already begun to put plans in motion. Today, a very different kind of ceremony will take place in this ballroom, where I've orchestrated countless flawless weddings for other women. I will use every detail they intended to weaponize against me. Everything will unfold precisely as planned, but not in the way they expect. The 300 guests, the expensive decorations, the carefully timed sequence of events will all be used against them. As I glance at the bridal gown hanging in my office, a wave of sadness washes over me, remembering the dreams it once symbolized. But those dreams were built on lies, and I've always valued harsh truths over beautiful illusions. Rachel and Ethan intended to create a scene that would forever haunt me. Their goal was to make my wedding day a spectacle. Well, I've built my entire career on planning flawless events, and this one will be no different. Things will not go as planned for Ethan and Rachel. They will get exactly what they wanted: a wedding to remember. After all, while the customer isn't always right, they always remember a good show. The city is now bathed in golden sunlight as the sun has fully risen. Time to prepare for the performance of a lifetime. They thought they were the directors of this show, but they're about to learn who truly controls the stage. Unlike them, I never disappoint my audience. Update 1. This morning, Catherine arrived at my hotel office. She presented a stack of financial documents, including proof of Ethan's unpaid child support and the loans he'd taken out using their shared assets as collateral. She was a composed woman in her early 40s, with a quiet intensity that mirrored my own. Placing the documents on my desk, she said, "He's been doing this for years, spinning elaborate tales of his wealth, targeting successful women. But this is the first time he's worked with an accomplice." When I mentioned Rachel's involvement, her voice cracked slightly. "The depths of his depravity just keep surprising me." The next hour was spent poring over the messages, filling in the gaps in my own discovery with Catherine's evidence. Ethan had a pattern of extravagant credit card purchases, seducing women, and then disappearing with their money. The only difference this time was Rachel's involvement, which added a layer of legitimacy to his scam. After that, my lawyer arrived and reviewed everything we gathered. "This isn't just fraud," she stated firmly. She'd already prepared emergency petitions to freeze accounts and prevent any attempts to transfer funds. "It's conspiracy, and with the evidence of their planned public humiliation, we can add emotional distress to the charges." Throughout the morning, both of them continued to send messages. Rachel texted, pretending to be excited about picking up the flowers. Ethan called twice, his voice dripping with fake concern, to discuss last-minute details. Every interaction felt like a fresh betrayal as I remained silent. The hotel staff has been discreetly briefed. The security cameras will record everything. Police officers, disguised as service personnel, have been subtly positioned throughout the hotel, awaiting my signal to act as soon as the evidence of the fraud is made public. Catherine shared more details about their marriage, including how Ethan would vanish for months, returning with elaborate excuses and promises to change. For years, she'd been gathering evidence, waiting for the right moment to strike. My call last night, it was the final piece of the puzzle she'd been struggling to complete. The makeup artist arrived an hour ago, setting up in my office. Rachel texted, pretending to coordinate with Ethan for their grand performance, saying she would be late. The bridal gown hangs in my office, a stark reminder of how quickly dreams can be twisted into weapons. Ethan's parents arrived earlier, completely unaware of their son's true nature. The reporters I contacted are posing as wedding photographers, eager to capture every moment. Catherine will remain unseen by Ethan until the perfect moment, seated in the front row. Her lawyer has prepared the necessary paperwork for swift action. Rachel's messages are becoming more frequent, tinged with anxiety. "Are you okay?" she texted. "You seem quiet." The irony of her concern would be almost comical if it weren't so tragic. This is the culmination of 20 years of sisterhood, though not in the way she intended. The location is transforming into the perfect stage. Every detail they plan to use to embarrass me will only amplify their downfall. As I look at my reflection in the office window, I see not a victim, but someone who has spent decades mastering the art of controlling chaos. They thought they were orchestrating the perfect scam, but they're about to discover who's really in charge of this operation. Update 2. The makeup artist has just finished her work. This isn't the bridal preparation I envisioned, and every brushstroke serves as a painful reminder. My reflection reveals expertly applied makeup and flawless contouring. They expect me to be a blushing bride. When Rachel finally arrived, she embraced me with what seemed like genuine warmth, saying, "You look stunning." How long has she been this skilled at deception? As I watched her in the mirror, she began to adjust my veil, chattering about last-minute details. Her azure eyes met mine in the glass. "It's unbelievable that my big sister is finally getting married," she said. "You deserve this happiness for everything you've done for me." If it weren't so devastating, her performance would be breathtaking. All morning, Ethan has been sending carefully crafted texts, maintaining his facade until the very end. "Can't wait to see you, love," he wrote. "Just a few more hours until forever begins." According to his most recent message, his parents are thrilled to welcome me into their family. The hotel's grand ballroom has been transformed exactly as planned, with 300 chairs meticulously arranged, crystal chandeliers sparkling, and white roses adorning every surface. Only a select few members of my team know what is about to unfold, and they have been executing the preparations flawlessly. Catherine is already in place, seated quietly in a corner, unseen by Ethan. Moments ago, her lawyer arrived with the necessary paperwork. The police officers posing as staff have confirmed their identities. Rachel is relentlessly attempting to create meaningful moments with me. "Remember all those times we spent planning your wedding as kids?" she asked as she adjusted my dress. In one respect, she's right. This will be far more memorable than those childhood fantasies. This is better than anything we ever imagined. Through the office window, I can see guests arriving. Acquaintances I've known for decades, co-workers from the hotel industry, even some of my frequent visitors who have become like family. They're all dressed in their finest attire, anticipating a celebration of love. Instead, they will witness something entirely different. In the foyer, Ethan's parents are greeting guests, projecting an image of a successful investment business. Their world is about to crumble just as completely as mine did yesterday. The string quartet is warming up in the ballroom, rehearsing a wedding march that will never reach its traditional conclusion. I just received confirmation from my lawyer that everything is in place, legally. As soon as Ethan and Rachel make their move, a series of unexpected events will begin. Rachel continues to play the part of the devoted sister, helping me with my shoes. Squeezing my hand, she asked, "Are you nervous?" I forced a weak smile, realizing the cruel irony of her question. It's normal to be quiet before such a big moment. According to the wedding coordinator's latest signal, we have 30 minutes until the ceremony begins. Rachel excused herself to check on a few things, most likely to finalize her plans with Ethan. I am now alone in the bridal suite, surrounded by the remnants of what should have been the happiest day of my life. In half an hour, they will discover just how deadly my attention to detail can be. Update 3. As the wedding march began, I started walking down the aisle. Ethan, playing the part of the successful, handsome groom, stood at the altar, radiating manufactured emotion. For a fleeting moment, the scene resembled the fairytale ending they had intended to shatter. Rachel, still wearing her maid of honor dress, stepped forward as I reached the halfway point. "I'm sorry," she declared, her voice echoing through the ballroom's perfect acoustics. "But I can't let this continue. Ethan and I are in love. I'm pregnant with his child." The collective gasp from the audience was exactly what they had hoped for. Just as rehearsed, Ethan's face transformed from a stunned groom to a regretful lover. I knew this moment had been meticulously practiced. Their spectacular surprise had been carefully staged. Ethan began to approach me. "Grace," he said, "you've been good to us," but Rachel and I cut him off, my voice clear and steady. "Let me handle the announcements from here," I said, gesturing towards the back of the room. The large screens, usually reserved for wedding photos, flickered to life. The images revealed their detailed planning, the premeditated deception, the jokes at my expense. Catherine rose from her seat and walked slowly towards the altar, her expression steely. "Hello, darling," she said, her voice cutting through the stunned silence. "Surprised to see your wife here." Another wave of gasps rippled through the ballroom as the word wife reverberated through the room. The police officers, still disguised as hotel staff, stepped forward, holding the paperwork in their hands. My lawyer approached. Financial records began to scroll across the screens. Theft, fraud, the complex scheme they had concocted. "Ethan Thompson," she announced, "you are under arrest for grand theft, fraud, and conspiracy. Miss Rachel Anderson, please remain where you are." Rachel's face crumbled. The confident smile vanished, replaced by sheer terror. She reached for me, pleading. "Grace, please, you don't understand. He said once we had your money, we'd be together," finally allowing my anger to surface. I retorted, "Once you had my money, you'd run away together. Start a new life with the savings I earned while raising you." As Ethan tried to flee, the hotel security team intervened, blocking all the exits. His father demanded answers. Instead, he received copies of the emails, revealing his son's long history of dishonesty and betrayal of women he had deceived. Ethan's assets were frozen, and Catherine's lawyer served him with divorce papers. As the police led Ethan away in handcuffs, the guests watched in stunned silence. Rachel remained motionless, tears streaming down her face, muttering, "What's going to happen to me?" "That depends on the district attorney," I replied coldly. She was escorted out of the ballroom by 2 officers. The click of the handcuffs signaled the end of 20 years of sisterhood. My hotel staff navigated the chaos with remarkable efficiency, ushering guests to the reception area. Surrounded by the flowers and decorations intended for a completely different event, I found myself feeling strangely at peace as I stood alone in the empty ballroom. The betrayal still stung, but there was a measure of satisfaction in watching their elaborate scheme collapse. Catherine's case appeared strong, and Rachel was cooperating with the prosecution. Justice would be served in several courtrooms. A month has passed since the wedding that never was. Both Ethan and Rachel, realizing the strength of the evidence against them, decided to cooperate with prosecutors. The court case moved forward swiftly. I was awarded $50,000 in damages from Ethan, although recovering that money will be a different story entirely. The judge's comments regarding their premeditation and breach of family trust were particularly scathing. Ethan is now facing criminal charges into other states. Throughout the proceedings, Rachel made numerous attempts to contact me. "I know I can never make this right," she wrote in one message. "But please, you're the only family I have." I deleted all her messages without responding. The sister I thought I knew never existed. My lawyer informed me that Rachel may be able to avoid jail time by cooperating with the prosecution, but she will likely face probation and required restitution payments. She used to talk about wanting me to be an aunt someday, so the fact that she's pregnant with Ethan's child feels like yet another cruel joke, in a twisted way. The hotel has become my sanctuary once more. I've been deeply touched by the loyalty of my staff throughout this ordeal. They've formed a protective barrier around me, answering phones, redirecting inquiries, and ensuring I can focus on what I do best, managing this hotel. News of the failed wedding and the subsequent arrests spread quickly throughout the hotel industry. Surprisingly, it has enhanced rather than harmed my reputation. It takes true strength to handle that kind of betrayal with such grace, one of my frequent clients told me in a long letter. Ethan's parents sent a message expressing their shame and remorse. I refused their offer to pay for the wedding. Money was never the point. It was about family and trust. I've already repurposed the planned honeymoon suite into a brand new corporate conference room. I've stayed in touch with Catherine, exchanging updates on Ethan's ongoing legal battles and offering support as we face our respective court challenges. She has become an unexpected ally, someone who truly understands the extent of his deceit. We're both better off knowing the truth, she told me. Even if it hurts, the bridal gown still hangs in my closet. Something prevents me from making the final decision to donate it. Perhaps it serves as a reminder of what I learned about my own strength, rather than what I lost. The woman who purchased that dress was incredibly naive in her trust and in her love. The woman who wears it next will understand betrayal. I've kept Rachel's old room intact all these years, her belongings untouched. Yesterday, I finally packed everything into boxes and called a storage company. The items will be held for 30 days. I forwarded the information to her through my attorney. Anything left after that will be donated. The betrayal itself is no longer the most painful part. It's realizing how tainted 20 years of memories have become. Was Rachel constantly playing a role, waiting for the opportune moment? Or were all those Christmas photos, those milestone celebrations, those late-night chats with her genuine? I've thrown myself back into my work, finding solace in the familiar routines of hotel management. I'm pouring my energy into new projects and renovations, and my staff has commented that I'm more focused than ever. I was even invited to speak at a hotel management conference last week about crisis management. I barely recognized Rachel's handwriting when I signed her name on the settlement documents this morning. Then again, I barely recognize her anymore. With a few strokes of the pen, I relinquished my anger. I'm simply tired of bearing the weight of what happened. My real family, my employees and loyal customers, need me. And for the first time in 20 years, I need to take care of myself. Late at night, in my office, I still find myself thinking about Rachel and the unborn child she carries. But I know I made the right decision. When I think back to those messages, the premeditated betrayal, the years of deception. Some bridges, once burned, should remain ashes. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you. So, Reddit, after hearing everything, do you think I handled this situation correctly? Was I too harsh? Should I have given Rachel another chance? Was there anything else I could have done? I'm genuinely curious to hear your opinions. Please share your thoughts and perspectives without holding back, as I'm still trying to process everything and understand if there were any other ways I could have navigated this incredibly painful and complicated situation. As your feedback is valuable to my healing process,